Lenora asked me to speak and give my testimony. And I thought, I'm really happy where I am, and I know I'm so eager to grow and just grow and learn. But in order for you to understand where I'm at now, you have to know where I came from. So I want to give a little bit about my background. Here's my parents right here. I was born in New Jersey. I moved to Florida at age 7. My dad actually left my mom and us 4 kids. I have 3 sisters. Just left us and moved and went to Florida. And my grandparents are the ones that told my dad, no kids, no wife, we're not going to help you. So that's my first, and I was abandoned even then, didn't even know it. My dad was very abusive. My dad had fits of anger, loved to break things, loved to throw things at you, hit first, never asked questions. My mom was a depressed person. She had, I feel now, a bipolar type of, like one minute she'd be fine, next minute she'd flip out. But even though she was that way, she was still somewhat our protector. Like my dad would be the type of dad, if something set him off and you were in the way, he'd knock you out of the way. And I remember one time he hit me so hard, I literally peed my pants. I don't remember anything else, but all I remember is my mother screaming at him to get off me. And then she stood me up and I'm trying to focus and she's trying to talk to me and I can't understand one word she's saying, and then they sent me to bed. And that's how our life was. But you think that's how everybody's life is. You live that, you don't go around asking your friends, so what's your life like? That's how we lived our lives. I have 2 older sisters, 1 younger sister. We took care of ourselves. We got ourselves up for school. Our parents weren't really involved in our lives. And that's how it went. Until this day. 40 years ago, on February 7th, my life changed. My mother was a pedestrian walking home. She missed her bus and she was struck by a car. 19-year-old kid driving. She went through the windshield and broke her neck and she died instantly. The next day I'm told your mother was involved in a car accident and she did not survive the accident. And even though my mom wasn't involved as much, she was still our protector.
Yeah, that's right.
So now, we're with our dad. 3 months later, hey, I just lost my mom. I'm 11 years old. I'm trying to reel into that. We're trying to just barely survive. My dad goes to visit his brother and sister-in-law in South Carolina. And there is a lady, it's the sister-in-law's sister, I know it's kind of confusing, but she just lost her husband. So my dad's like, I'm going to go visit for a week. Okay. Comes back a week later with the lady and her 3 kids in tow. With their stuff in a U-Haul. And we come out of the house and we're like, oh, so is this Peggy? And he goes, no, it's your new mother. And you're going to call her as such. Just met the woman and we're all having to live together. It was like, what? You talk about a sticker shock? It's like, what? Well, we're living on top of each other. There's 4 of us, there's 3 of them, 7 kids. We don't even know each other. We just met, and I'm supposed to call them my brothers and sisters. So we moved to a bigger house. That's even more, just a mess. And so my dad says, you know what, that's it. We're going to move to South Carolina. My 2 older sisters said, we're out here. We're not staying. And they left. So now, it's just me and my little sister. Well, I wish I could say that she was a good fit, but she was even more abusive. My dad worked a lot. He was gone. My dad drank. Like I said, he was an alcoholic, so he was gone all the time, either at a bar or wherever. She'd not give us dinner. She'd lock us in our rooms. She was just an extremely abusive person. And one of the things, I'm about 12 years old, I come home from school and I can smell gasoline. And I see all my stuff in the front of the yard. And I was like, okay, pictures of my parents, my life, things I got, and stuffed animals, stuff you have as kids. And she's like, I'm so glad you're home. And I was like, why is my stuff in the, and she lights a match and throws it in. And I see my life burn up in flames. That's the type of person she was. That's the type of mean spirit. And the only thing I knew of God was a picture of Jesus my mom had because she was Catholic. Just that picture, and I don't mean to cut down Catholics or people, but that kind of creepy picture of Jesus with the heart showing and it looks like the eyes are following you everywhere you go. That's the only picture I knew of Jesus. And I was like, this is kind of creepy. It looks like he's following me. I knew nothing of God, nothing of Jesus. That was it. But do you know God can still use you even when you don't know Him? I'm 12 years old. I'm sleeping in the middle of the night. Me, my little sister, and my stepsister shared a room. And I hear God's voice clear as day. Get up now. And I was like, okay. I got up and I'm just, what am I doing? He's like, go down the hallway. Go now. And I was like, okay, I'm going. And I'm kind of stumbling down the hallway, not knowing what's going on. And I walk into the bathroom just inside to see my stepsister sexually abusing my little sister. And I put a stop to it. Probably not the way God wanted me to, but I put a stop to it. And I became, right then and there, the protector. But when you're the protector and you don't really know God, it became very hard. At 12 years old, I grew up fast. Don't tell me what to do. I'm not letting you in. You see my wall? You're not getting through it. Guess what? You know the thing about brick walls? You don't get out.
That's right.
And I'm stuck. I had a really bad attitude. I'd fight you first when we're looking at you. I know what I'm doing. Don't tell me what to do. Well, pretty soon that left. That ended, which I was very thankful. We moved back to Florida. That didn't work out. We came all the way back out here to California. We had some distant relatives here and everything. Now I'm about 13, 14 years old. My dad, dating another woman, picks me up from school and says, oh, hey, I grabbed a dress and shoes for you. And I was like, what for? Oh, because we're getting married. Now, we're on our way to City Hall. So, come on. I was like, I don't really even know this woman. It's like the repeat. Here we go again. And again, I'd like to say if she was a great woman, wonderful. But she wasn't. Her family lived in Easton. So she was gone all the time. And she was the type of person, she had a 2-year-old daughter. She let the daughter just do whatever she wanted. She would walk around with Kool-Aid and chips. And the house was full of roaches and a mess, and we had ants, and you stuck to the floor that you just stuck to everything, and I couldn't take it. I'm a teenager. I can't have my friends over. It was just a big mess. And so I'd clean it. When she'd be gone, I was like, I can't stand this, I'd clean it. My dad would get home from work or from wherever, and she would say, oh, I'm so glad you're home. Do you like the house? I worked really hard on it. And I was like, no, you didn't. I did. But then I became, you're the rebellious teenager. You're lying. It's, you're causing all the problem. And me and her would fight constantly. And finally she said, you know what? I've had it, Bob. Choose. And he's like, what? She goes, choose. Her or me. My dad said, I choose her. And I'm going to move to Easton. And he told me the rent's paid up for a month. I'm 14 years old. Figured it out and left me. And I'm sitting here, 14 years old, living my life. Like, okay, I don't know what the next step is. I would love to say I didn't mask it with alcohol and drugs, but I did. My neighbor, who I babysat for, lived 3 houses down, saw that I was living by myself and said, you know what, move in with us. We'll take care of you. And I thought, hey, you know what, great. Hey, the family I've been looking for. Nope. When I moved in, about 14, 15, it was the true Cinderella story. I became Cinderella. You are lucky. We saved your life. You will now be our maid. You will cook. You will clean. You will take after our kids. You will make their beds. You will make our bed. And if you don't like any of these rules, you can leave. We'll send you back to your father. Well, obviously I'm there because my father doesn't want me. So I'm thinking, this is my life. This is how this is going to be. And when you don't have the love of Jesus, and you don't have love of your dad, and you don't basically have love at all, you start looking for it in the wrong places. At 15 years old, guessed it, I got pregnant. And I knew, okay, nobody wants me. I have no idea what I'm doing, so I had an abortion. Not proud of it. I don't even like to talk about it, but I did. But I was still sleeping around, and I was still looking for that right thing. And I started hanging around the wrong crowd. And even though I'm 16, 17 years old, God can still protect you, even though you don't realize God is protecting you. I became a cheerleader. I fell in love with cheerleading. That honestly saved my life. I got in the choir. I started loving school. Go figure that one out. I left my gang friends kind of thing, and I went to this. And I really liked it. But in the meantime, my foster parents, they were fighting already. So what happens when you're fighting and you bring in a teenager? Like, that's not going to make it any better. And it actually made it so much worse to the point where they put me in the middle. And I would be home, I'm like 17 years old, and they're like, well, you know what? Roberta thinks that you spend too much money. Go ahead, tell them. You know, I really don't, no, you know what? She thinks that you're doing this. Go ahead, tell her. I was like, I just want to live my life. I just want to, this is so overwhelming for me. Well, one night it got so bad it started getting physical. 17 years old, I took off. I ran away. But I graduated from high school. After I graduated, I held down 2 jobs, knew nothing about college. Nobody told me about college. I actually had a counselor tell me off because she was like, you know, you foster kids. I had so many opportunities. Foster kids have a ton of opportunities, but instead she turned it against me and was like, you know, you don't know what it's like to have a hard time. When I was growing up, we ate potatoes all the time, and you know, you're sitting here complaining and whining. She knew nothing about my life. So I was like, okay, college isn't for me. So I held down 2 jobs, sometimes 3 jobs, just took care of myself, but unfortunately, still sleeping around, still not doing the right thing. And all of a sudden I'm working and I start getting these sharp, deadening pains. I just doubled over, I can't breathe, what is going on type of pain. Like, what is happening? And then go away. I'll be fine. Okay, good. Then they come back, and last longer and longer. And then the last time I was like, I can't breathe. Something's wrong. Took me to the hospital. I got chlamydia, a venereal disease. A disease that makes you sterile. I got married, husband number 1, that's what I call him. 19 years old, got pregnant, miscarried. And at the time, looking back now, I fell in love with his family and not him, because they had the family that eats together every Sunday. They were, same mom and dad. They were always in each other's lives, and it just seemed like they really loved each other. But the thing is, and I didn't know, my husband had a really dark side. He was into drugs. He'd not come home. Him and his friend would work at Sears, and they would actually steal stuff so that they could sell it and then get more drugs. He worked for PG&E. He had a great job, but he was like, it was a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type of thing. It was awful. And then towards the end, it was just getting worse and worse. He kicked me out. On my own again. Limping along, going through life, meet an acquaintance from high school, start dating, get pregnant short after. This time I insisted on being married. I did. I was like, my child's not going to grow up, two different names. No, no. I'm going to get married. Not the greatest thought. He had a son from a previous marriage, and this ex-wife was one of the craziest women I've ever met in my entire life. She left. This kid was 3 years old. She left this kid for a year. I raised him. Took care of him, took him to school, I took care of everything. Now they never got any papers drawn up, so she comes back a year later for a visit and says, oh, I'm just going to take the kid for lunch. And I'm like, don't do it, don't do it, don't let her take him, don't do it. She took him and was gone. When the time she comes back, we go to court, we lost all of our custody. I raised this kid. I was a mom and a stepmom. But let me tell you, this marriage was the worst marriage I've ever had in my life. I can't even really still talk about it right now. This man, I'm working on forgiveness, but he was a predator, and I'm actually praying for his salvation, and that's so hard, but I am. But God gives you miracles even through the most awful, awful situations. Yeah. Do you want to see my miracle? There's my miracle. That's my daughter. She's 27. That's my grandbaby doggy right there. I love that dog. He knows his grandma too. Okay? So, here I am. I'm supposed to be sterile. There's my miracle. Right there. Made me a mom. Love being a mom. Well, as you see, my track record's not that great. I don't really know anything about anything. Trying to be a single mom. Brittany upsets me one night. We're in the kitchen. She's about 2 years old or something. We're both in our socks. The linoleum floor is a little bit slippery. I got so angry. I don't even remember what she did. I hit her so hard, I literally swept her off her feet, and she fell and hit her head on the cabinet. And I saw my dad, and I saw my life, and I was like, oh my gosh, Lord, if you're there, I don't want to be like that. Don't let me be like that. I don't want to be that type of parent. I don't want to get so angry that I hit first, and I don't ask questions. I don't even want to hit. I don't want to be like that. Lord, teach me to be a better parent. If you're there, I didn't really know who he is, but I prayed to him because that scared the life out of me. Now, how many of you know God has a sense of humor? My 30th birthday comes along. I'm having a little bit too many cocktails, I'll be honest. Okay? I announced to the whole entire party, I'm never getting married. I'm never getting married, and I'm never going to be a stepmom again. That was awful. I'm not going to do it. And I'm yelling at the top of my lungs. And I'm sure God's saying, because here we go. There's my stepchildren. That's Miranda, and that's Austin, who's 23. Met him when he was 2. My stepdaughter's 27. Met her when she was 5. Let me tell you about my stepkids. I love my stepkids. They're such a big part of my life. I would do anything for them. Anything for them too, right there. I text them all the time. I mean, they have such a hold of my heart for someone who never ever wanted stepchildren. Now, when my dad left me, many years of a gap. Like, he didn't see my daughter until she was almost 5 years old. Never spoke. But we came back together because of that woman right there. That is my stepmother, Rita. And I credit her so much for marrying my dad, putting up with my dad for one. But my dad accepted Jesus because of that woman right there. And I didn't know at the time that my dad had accepted Jesus. So I get a phone call from her My dad suffers from congestive heart failure, had heart attacks, strokes, all kinds of stuff all the time. And I get a call from Rita one day that my dad wanted to see me. He's in the hospital. And I was like, nope. To this day, I'm so sorry about that phone call. I was like, nope, not interested. Don't really want to see him. Don't really want to talk to you. So, click. I get a call from the hospital. Your father won't calm down until he sees you. He needs to see you. And it's a struggle. Do I go? Do I not go? I really, all right, fine, I'll go. And I get there, and he doesn't even look like himself. He's all bloated. He's got tubes coming out everywhere. He's got a thing on his face, and he goes to pull it off. And they're like, no, don't pull it off, don't pull it off. And he slaps his hand away. And he pulls it off and he mouths to me, I'm sorry. And I thought, what? See, I found out later that my dad actually died on the table that day. He actually was pronounced dead. And when he was pronounced dead, he went up and he was with Jesus. And my dad said it is the best, warmest feeling you can't eat. He couldn't even describe it. But he's all excited and he sees Jesus and he's ready, and Jesus says, no. My dad's like, what do you mean no? Like, I'm following you. You live in my heart. Like, I don't understand. And Jesus says, what about your daughter Roberta? How's your relationship with her? God knew me. Like, he said my name. And he told my dad, I give you one last shot. Get it right. And my dad said he pushed him back into it. Next thing I know, my dad was waking up in his body. And that's why I got the phone call. After that, my dad and I became very close. And my dad right here. That's my dad. Now let me tell you, this is my college graduation. He did not come to my high school graduation. He came to my college graduation. I actually am a first-generation college student. Didn't get to go when I was young. I went when I was about 30, in my early 30s. I got a degree in Bachelor for Liberal Studies, teacher. It was the best feeling in the world. And he yelled my name. Like, I'm walking, I don't see him, I don't see him and read at all. And then he yells my name, he called me Lefty all the time, left-handed. I'm sure you guys figured that out. But he's like, I hear this, Lefty! And I was like, my dad's here! You know, so I ran to him, it was so exciting. Here's another picture of me and my dad. And even towards the end, now he's wearing a Yankees baseball thing. My dad, I could not find a picture of me and my dad in baseball. We loved baseball. My dad breathed the Yankees. Well, I fell in love with the San Francisco Giants. So my dad was not one that ever was quiet, just like me, not quiet. So I called my dad, and I'm like, I know this phone call, I have to do this phone call, I don't know who's going to hate it. And I was like, hey Dad, I've decided to be a San Francisco Giants fan. Silence. And he goes, I'm going to have to call you back. And hung up on me. But finally accepted that I was not going to be a Yankees fan. But we love baseball. Well, as my dad and I are building our relationship, I'm on marriage number 3. My marriage is falling apart. For the first 10 years we were married, we were in court with our exes 8 of those years. We spent thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars we did not have. And it's not even because we wanted to. You get sued, you have to go. You got to get a lawyer. We have to respond to a letter, which costs $200. It was absolutely a nightmare. And our exes met each other at a function and started working together. And it became crazy. And during this time, my husband and I are thinking, we'll have a kid together, and that'll be better. But guess what? We had infertility issues like you would not believe for 7 years. 7 years we struggled. We did the shots. we did the medication, we did all that stuff. At the same time, my stepdaughter decides, I want to go live with my mom because my mom's going to let me do whatever I want to do. So she leaves. I mean, it's completely chaos in my marriage. And at this time, we're going to a church called Living Hope. Periodically, not too much. But I call it the pump you up, feel good church. You know those churches? Okay? No Bible. They don't bring a Bible. You never bring a Bible because you don't read from it. And it's that, all right, cheerlead, okay, you can do it. You're going to go in the world. Yeah, we're going to do everything. It's going to be great. And then you're like pumped up on Sunday. Yeah, all right, I can do this. And you go into the world unprepared and you get defeated. And then you come and you're like, oh. You come back on Sunday like, what happened? And what happens? You start getting mad at God. Like, where are you? Why are you not helping? Why are you like, I had no preparation whatsoever. This church was not helpful at all. At this time, my oldest sister gets breast cancer. And my oldest sister, she was like, when my mom was gone, she was kind of the glue as best she could, but she had to go live her own life. And she was always that type of person. She was very like, you first, always you first, before her. And she's getting sick, and she's getting sick. And I get a call from Rita on my birthday that she's going to die. And I thought, no, my sister's not going to die on my birthday. Sometimes when you're in the worst situation and the pain's so real, there's still some type of blessing somewhere. She knew it was my birthday. My sister was extremely sick, and she's looking at death. She died the day after my birthday. And I knew she knew in her head it was my birthday. But as we go to the funeral, my dad gets up and starts talking about Jesus and coming to Jesus. And I'm thinking two things. Who is that man that's talking about Jesus? And who is Jesus? Like my dad is talking, and the love he has is just pouring out of his heart. Like, he's telling people at the funeral, like, you gotta know Jesus, this man named Jesus. And I was like, who is this and this? Who is that? Well, one of the reasons why my marriage is so bad is my husband's an alcoholic. He's abusive, fits of anger, self-familiar. He put my kids through all kinds of stuff. And it dawned on me, I married my dad. I married how he was. And I became a God hater. And I'm talking to you, a God hater. Don't talk to me about God. Don't put anything on the walls about God. My dad would come in Jesus, and I'd be, oh, shut that down. No, Jesus, do not talk about Jesus. Look what's happened to me, Dad. Look what's happening in my life. No, I don't want to hear about Jesus at all. I get a call from Rita. Your dad had to be taken in an ambulance. My dad never likes to ride an ambulance whatsoever. And anytime I hear, Bob, how you feeling? I want to go home. That was my dad's response. So when she said, your father's been taken to an ambulance to the hospital, I knew. This is it. I knew. Without a doubt. So when I went to see him, my dad was barely conscious. And they sat him up, and Rita whispered in his ear, Lefty's here. And he said, oh, my little Lefty. And I got to hear him say that for the last time. I was so thankful. And then the next day I get a call from Rita again. She says, he's code blue. Get here now. And I got there, and they said, you can't go until he's stabilized. And it took him 6 hours to stabilize my dad. And I knew, this is it. We went in, and they said, you got 5 minutes. And so I went in, and I bent down, I whispered in his ear, I said, hey, Pop. I called him Pop. That was my nickname. Hey, if you want to fight, you fight. You give it all you got. I'll be there for you. I'll take you to physical therapy. I'll do whatever you want. But if you want to go home, go home. Go see him this time. I know everything's okay. I'll take care of Rita. I'll take care of my little sister. So it's always a concern of his. But go home. I didn't quite know what home meant like I do now. But I said, Dad, go home. And the next day, he went home. And the great thing about that, I still was not really in church, still not a believer like I am now. Rita and I are there. We watch him take his last breath. Everything goes down to zero. And we go over and we're standing over him. I'm on one side, she's on the other. And we're like, all right, he's gone. And the lullaby in the hospital goes off. And the baby is born. And to me, I felt that was God's way of telling us, he made it. He's all right. You might not believe that, but I just felt like it was a comfort. I can't explain it. Well, my dad's memorial was at Clovis Christian Center. I never even really been to that church. When I get there, it's chaos. They're standing room only for my dad. And people are getting up talking about my dad. Oh, Bob did this. Oh, he was... And I'm like, what? My dad? Now, I kind of knew that but these people were saying things about my dad that I've never experienced. Like, somebody had a bad day. My dad sat with them all day to cheer them up. I'm like, what? That's crazy. And my dad loved Pastor Charlie. Okay, Pastor, I know you're going to see me on this thing right now. Please forgive me what I'm about to say, because I did not like Pastor Charlie when I first met him. I would meet Pastor Charlie at the hospital, and he'd come and see my dad. And I was like, I don't like this man. This man just bugs me. And because I was seeing him through worldly eyes, not godly eyes, not a Christian. And just like, because, so I'm, here I'm in the world, it's like, he bugs me. I don't know what it will. And my dad would say, what? I don't know. It's because he's anointed. And I'm not. But at my dad's memorial, everything went wrong. You name it, it went wrong. There was not enough food, nothing was set up, because at the time the church did not have a coordinator. And so everybody thought somebody else was going to do it, and so it literally it was a mess. So we're running out, the family's running out and getting food. And Pastor Charlie, for the first time, he was so embarrassed. And he's like, I am so sorry. And for the first time I saw him as a man of God. Like I really saw his feelings, and he was apologizing. My friend was there at my dad's funeral, and she pitched in and helped. Like I'll tell you how I got to know her. I had the worst job in the world. The worst job in the world. Even when you have things like that, God gives you blessings like that. And I don't have that job anymore, but I sure got more like that. So everything's going wrong. Everything's a mess. We kind of limp through the whole thing. And then my dad had to be buried 3 weeks later because he got a military burial. And you had to wait till you get to your, you have an appointment kind of thing. So God speaks to me and says, you're going to be the fellowship coordinator at that church. I was like, I don't even go to this church. Fellowship coordinator? Are you kidding? I don't think so. Keeps talking. How many of you know you ignore God? He just keeps talking. And it gets louder and more constant. So, at my dad's burial, I'm standing next to Pastor Charlie. I've heard this voice for 3 weeks now in my ear, and he's telling me, now, go tell Pastor Charlie, you're going to be the coordinator. I'm like, I am not going to be the coordinator. He's going to laugh at me. It's not going to happen. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And he's like, now, go now, speak now. Now. It just keeps going. So I was like, okay, fine. fine, I'm going to show you how ridiculous this is, and I'm going to go and talk to him, and he's going to laugh at me. This is what I'm thinking. And when I say what I'm about to say, and how I said it, I'm not exaggerating. So, like Pastor Charlie, I was just like thinking, I don't know. I noticed at my dad's funeral, like things weren't set up. And he's like, I know, I'm so sorry. No, it's okay, it's all right. Just like, I was thinking, I don't know, if you want a coordinator, I mean, I guess I can help. So, just let you know. And he goes, what'd you say? I go, what'd I say? And he goes, no, seriously, what'd you say? I go, I don't know. And he goes, no, Roberta, seriously, what did you say? I go, I said I'd be the coordinator. This time I'm freaking out because I'm like, he's gonna like, just start busting out laughing. And he starts crying. And I thought, oh no, I hurt his feelings. Like, oh, I just made him. And he goes, oh my gosh, are you serious? Are you serious? I go, I think I'm serious. And he goes, no, you don't understand. I have to call my wife. I have to call, which now I know, by the way, is Irma. I did not know that. And he's like, I have to call my wife. And he goes, you don't understand. We've been praying for 3 years for coordinators. God talked to me for 3 years. So let me tell you, it's amazing to go to the right church. And I can tell you, in a sense, my dad's death resurrected my life. I became the fellowship coordinator. And also, I became the youth leader. And I just realized that Jane's not in this picture. That's so fun. I became the youth leader. I love these kids. I got to see them grow up. Oh, these kids are amazing, amazing. They just lighten up my life. I'm so thankful and blessed to be their youth leader. And let me tell you something. You don't think God's going to use a gift you have? Remember when I told you I was in college and I took a liberal studies and now I'm going to have a bachelor's degree? I didn't become a teacher because there was other things going on in my life and I couldn't do the credential program. And about 5-8 years later, something like that, I'm thinking, God, am I ever going to use this teaching? Am I ever going to be a teacher? Am I ever going to use my liberal studies degree? Bam. Only the great thing, I get to teach about God. I get to teach about Jesus, and there's no restriction. I take Bible classes. I'm involved in the women's ministry. I love these ladies. And that's not even half of them. They have changed my life. Lenore has changed my life.
Amen.
I understand about God. That hardened person, that person that was once there, is no longer there. I love learning about what Jesus has to offer. And I know that there's more to come. When someone used to offend me, oh, watch out, back up, because I would let you have it. Now, Lord, teach me what to do, how I can learn from it. I feel His presence all the time. I know what this is, and I know what's in it. Before, why are the letters red? I had no idea. I used to think Ezra was a girl in the Bible. I'm serious. I didn't know what the gospel was. I didn't know anything. And now it's like, God breathed. I get it. It's changed my life. Changed my life. God gives you gifts and He gives you opportunities. And one of the things I have, and I'm not saying it to like pat myself on the back, the cake that was made. I made the cake. It's a gift I've had. I've made thousands upon thousands of cupcakes. I'm not joking. I've made cakes, cupcakes, carnival, all kinds of stuff. And now my kids are grown, and I don't get to make it that much. And I was like, okay, God, you gave me this gift. I know this gift came from you. What can I do with it? I'm scrolling along. I see this thing, cakesforkids.org. I make cakes now, or cupcakes, whatever, for foster kids. For kids who have been saved from human trafficking. And all they want is a birthday cake. God took my gift and He's blessing someone else. I don't even get to see the kid, and that's okay. Because when I go in, I pray over the cake, so they're getting a cake and a prayer. And let me tell you something else. As for me and my husband, that's my husband right there. My husband went into Celebrate Recovery. He is a recovering alcoholic. He's been there for a year. He's been in counseling with Pastor Charlie. I've been in counseling. Our marriage is very strong, and it keeps getting stronger. We're healing the old wounds, and with God in the middle. Now I've been broken, oh my gosh. This is just even some of it. I haven't even shared hardly even more. But with God in the middle, and even though I'm broken, God sees me beautiful. Amen. And I want to show you something. Go ahead. Where are they at? We're gonna do a little thing. Lorena's like, what? We're gonna do a little thing really quick. I want you to pick the color that speaks to you. Your favorite color. I want you to pick it. Crystal, did you get one? I know. And my girls. I want you to pick the color. Color that speaks to you. There you go. Marnez, sometime today. See now, how many of you, when you open that box of crayons, that new box of crayons, you smell it? Like, it's a new box of crayons. It's so pretty. So pretty. Everybody got a crayon? Yeah. Lorena, you have a crayon? Now you notice you picked a color, right? That spoke to you. Is there any color in the box that's that same color? No. There might be a little different version. You have yellow. You have sunshine yellow. You have orange. You have burnt orange. Well, you know, we're like a box of crayons. We might be similar, but we're all different. Now break your crayon. Break it. Break your crayon. Break your crayon. Break it. Break it. Break your crayon. Your crayon's broken. Can't read it. But do you really think that if God wants to make the sun yellow, He's not going to use your crayon? He's not going to use, if He wants it yellow, He's going to use yellow. If He wants to make the grass green, He's going to use your crayon. What I'm trying to tell you is, you might be broken, but God's still going to use you. You think that if you see a box of broken crayons and you still want to color, you're going to use broken crayons. It doesn't matter. You might be broken, you might be coming from someplace, or you might be in a place where you don't want to be, but God can use you. And you might be broken, but He sees you as beautiful. That's all I have to say.